Well, welcome to another News Game Plus. I'm going to open this. I'm Steve. I thought I was part of the Minecraft video. That's a lame one.
Blowing out the listeners' ears. That's okay.
You said to talk loud. There's New Game Plus. I'm Dermie, and I'm with New Game Plus executive producer Jason O'Callaghan. Let's go open with the gaming stuff. Today.
Much better.
Today, the Minecraft movie preview came out.
How do you feel about that? Like, I feel like this needs to be a therapy session now. Like, how do you feel about the Minecraft movie being announced? I mean, we now know why Jack Black had to cancel his tour. Because he had the extra money coming in from, he obviously had Nintendo, but then he also now has Minecraft money coming in.
Well, see, I can do that.
And Borderlands, so he's doing all the video game movies.
Yeah, see, I can do that intro saying I'm Steve because I'm also an overweight, hairy, not funny person. I've never cared much for Jack Black, but now that looked... somebody has to do an intervention at Microsoft and say, dudes, you've got these really good games. Can you just stick with making the games?
Yeah, just release the games that we asked for. Yeah,
because they've already been pretty busy destroying the Halo brand,
franchise,
and now they're obviously decided the Minecraft brand needs some work.
I must say, I love friend of the show, Maddie, very much. But the fact that he laments the loss of Halo is just a blight on his character.
I figure he's trolling. I figure he's trolling, but he seems serious. Maddie, get some help. Serious. Well, I'm waiting for him to go. Geez, Borderlands was good. But no, I think the Minecraft. I've seen because I do watch a few Minecraft YouTubers. Being a 12-year-old.
That's right. Yeah.
So, I have not seen anybody say they liked what they saw, and it looks like whoever did it has absolutely no idea. I've never played Minecraft, don't know what they're doing, and it just looks really lame.
Yeah, that's my takeaway. Like, look, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the target audience for Minecraft. I've never been that guy. I mean, to me, I'm that guy who doesn't even like Lego sets because I'm like, Lego's meant to be a creative outlet, and then the idea of like, oh, I've got merchandise that's just Lego and you build it this certain way, I'm like, it just stifles the creativity, and that was why Minecraft was good, but now Minecraft's become so many different things to so many different people. It's just not something I'm ever going to be involved with, but the people who love it, and good for them.
Oh, I love it. I find it relaxing because I build houses, and then what I do is
you sell them in negative gear. No, you're that age group.
Not that old. Yeah. I'm a Gen X. We've got our own house. We don't have everyone else's. So the generations under us don't have any houses. We got one.
Yeah.
So unless you're trading and you got like 12,
that's now worth $46 million.
Because I know guys that left school at like year 10 back when I was young, and they were buying houses in their 20s, which I always thought was weird, but now they're probably millionaires.
Yeah.
But anyway, now the Minecraft movie, I think Borderlands it's really got some competition here. And I think we're probably gonna be really missing the old U-Bowl days for gaming movies.
Well, have you got that on your list?
What's that one?
The Postal 2 crowdfund.
No, is that a movie or a game?
No, it's
actually
it's a movie.
the Postal 3, because Postal 3 had Milo in it.
It did. Your mate.
You could kill him.
Your favourite guy.
My favourite. I didn't say I liked him. I said I thought he was funny.
There you go.
Because see, this is the thing. Milo walked into a room full of young Republicans, dressed like one of the village people, because he was flamboyantly gay, right? Right? He had water pistols that were penis shaped, and he was squirting these young Republican guys with penis water pistols while they cheered for him. And if that's not the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, I can't find the video of it anymore because everything of Milo got taken down. But that is hilarious trolling.
So they had to remove it because they were This is the Indiegogo page where they've got like random memes and stuff. Uwe Boll was saying we'll make a Postal 2. Now, have you seen Postal 1?
No, I've never seen a Uwe Boll movie.
So if you have to watch his movies, you might be old and edgy enough for Postal 1, because it is edgy. And in the Name of the King, the one with fucking, what's his name? Ray Liotta was actually
Oh yeah,
passable.
He's a half decent actor.
Yeah, passable. The rest of them are pretty trash. Like, yeah.
I actually I like to watch Space Ice's versions of it. Have you seen Space Ice?
No.
He does like basically movie reviews of those, and they're pretty funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Minecraft movie came out today, and I don't think there's a single person in the world that's liked it. Now they're being Jack Black and that they're part of the Cool Kids Club, so the KKK will not change. Unlike remember when Sonic came out and everyone saw Sonic and it was basically some sort of weird pedo bait thing.
Yeah.
And then Sega stepped in and went, "Hey, I don't think Microsoft's going to step in and do it because they haven't shown a very good decision making ability so far when things are on a screen."
I think, and it's one of those things, right? With look, I don't know, how do I say it? There are. This is tough. With Microsoft at the moment, their decision-making process has been. I mean, I've been slaying into them over the Activision buyout for years, right? Since they announced it before it was even official, I've been laying into them about it. And so I just think across the board, they don't know what direction they want to go in. They're feeling pressure from old mate Nadella above. Like they're copping it from above, saying you've got to start making us money or you're out. And I think that's where they've just started making these bad missteps. Like the Indiana Jones is exclusive to Game Pass when it comes out, and then 6 months later it's on PS5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's not going to sell Game Pass subs. You know what I mean? Like,
No, we discussed before. Game Pass needs 4, what do you call them, tentpole releases a year.
Yeah.
And they've got.
It needs the Nintendo strategy. Nintendo do that. They have 10-pole release, one every quarter. They have a 10-pole, and then they release a bunch of small stuff around it. And honestly, if you look at it, I mean, that's what Helldivers was. Helldivers was one of Sony's smaller releases for that time. And look at the success that it's had. Even now, it's still successful. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, let's segue from Sony's releases, tentpole releases, to their big release.
Yeah.
Called Concord. Because I'm actually going to give some advice to them because I clearly I know Sony's upper management are going to be listening to this podcast. I'm going to tell them how to fix this problem, but they've made a live service game, Concord. I think everyone's sort of heard the story. There were more people develop the game than play it.
Yes.
Which is kind of sad. You go, hey, it's like
it looks fine. You know what I mean? Like I've said to a few people, it looks competent. You know what I mean? In a world where competency is as more rare than it should be, you know, like
I think what they did was they started development when Overwatch was massive, and they thought they'd try and get some of that market, and everything has changed a lot in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Didn't they spend 8 years developing it?
Some ridiculous, it was pretty
It
dumb.
goes to show that you've got to have a quicker turnaround time than that.
Yeah.
I think that the sad bit is the devs are probably going to suffer for it, not management, who made all the decisions.
Which is always the way, you know. Yeah.
So that's a bit sad. But the okay, I'm going to tell them how to solve this. This is for everybody that does. See, Concord's a live service game. They shut it down after 2 weeks because nobody was playing it. And a live service game needs to pick up. Now, in the old days, you used to be able to every entertainment product, videos and that, they would have like a second wind and a chance to become like a cult favorite. Famous movie examples like Shawshank Redemption and stuff like that, right? So,
well, you have DVD releases for one.
Yeah, so you could have a little pickup, or even that Christmas show. There's a famous Christmas show that nobody watched in the first place. When TV stations picked it up cheap, suddenly it became...
Oh, it's a beautiful life. It's a wonderful life.
Suddenly it became famous.
So, but that's also Family Guy wouldn't exist if it wasn't for DVD sales.
Yeah, and Futurama. I think as well.
Also,
so there are a lot of. So anyway, the point is, if you're going to go for that quick 1 week, 2 week make or break thing, I think that's a bad way to do it. Now it might do it, but here's how to solve it. You've spent 8 years and hundreds of millions of dollars making a game, and they're going to throw it out. Release this server so that people can run their own servers.
Yeah.
And what happens then, don't just keep control of the server, put the servers out in the wild. What happens then is it can get like a Minecraft sort of thing where people can set up their own servers, have their own little groups. Now, your game then isn't dead. You can still leave it at $40 or whatever to buy. But but you've got a chance then that it could get a second win. Like, remember when Among Us and Fall Guys just came out of nowhere? I think Among Us is a big one. They were working on Among Us 2. And they actually stopped working on it because Among Us 1 suddenly just became big. Now, and that was during the pandemic. But sometimes the stars align and that might happen. Now, if you take Concord off sale now, it's never going to do anything now. And from all reports, it wasn't buggy or anything. It wasn't like it was. It was just a bit samey. But the thing is, it might have a market now when everybody's finished with what's the one they're playing, the Valve one?
Deadlock.
Deadlock, yeah. I was about to say Deadpool, but for Deadlock. When everyone's finished with Deadlock, they might be looking for something else.
Yeah.
So but
it was just Valve being Valve. Just screwed Sony. So Valve is like Rockstar. Whatever you have to adapt to them. Whatever they are doing, you have to adapt to what Valve are doing.
But I think the way to do it is you release the server as a server people can run on their own, or at least run off their as part of have a server built in. Like remember the old days, you can just set up a game and your PC or your Xbox runs a server. Do that. That way, you are not tied to the death of a game that has 60 people playing it in the first week. You can actually then have a bit of a slow burn on it. You're not running up the cost of the servers because they were. I don't know why they get upset about that because servers don't cost that much.
And I've always found that funny, right? Because like servers really don't. Like I've looked at it for various things I've had to do in the past, right? And you live in this world, you work in this world. And it's never struck me as particularly prohibitive, especially when you're talking about a company of that size.
Not for Sony or something like that, right? But let people run their own. Now, what happens then? You can leave Concord on sale. You can leave it on the eStore, whatever PSN or whatever it is, because it's a Sony one, isn't it? Yeah. You can leave it there, and then what happens is people might get groups playing it. You'll at least make some money, and that way you're just not closing it down and writing off $200 million of development.
But I mean, this goes that's that kind of two answers here. First, it is Hollywood accounting. It is, if we write it off against our taxable assets, then it's a better value to us than the potential for it to make money, which is dumb. But also, we learned from Helldivers that Sony can't help but get in their own way. We have a perfectly good system. We have a perfectly good game. People are happy playing it on Steam. They're happy playing it on Thing. We could have just turned a blind eye to certain things, blah, blah, blah. And then they've gone, no, you have to have a PSN login. Now, I am 100% certain, maybe not 100, 80% certain that part of that pressure came from the US government. Part of that pressure came from people like Valve or someone would have gone, because Valve has a lot of people playing Dota, and a lot of them are Russian. And so I feel like a lot of the pressure would have come from, are we going to get into trouble if and so someone overreacted, they knee-jerked it, and as a result, we're now stuck with the situation that we face.
It's this desperate desire to control. Because the internet starts really good. Everyone goes, I'm escaping all the old bullshit and going to use this new internet-delivered product. And then suddenly the forces come in and go, hey, we see you're using something that's not the old stuff. We need to change it. And you go, wait, that's what I escaped.
And Microsoft used to cut flack for this. Oh, you have to pay for online, blah, 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 blah. And most of Microsoft servers are peer-to-peer anyway, right? So there's very rarely is there dedicated servers for any game nowadays. Like most of it is peer-to-peer. Sorry, I take it back. Was peer-to-peer. Now, as a general rule, they do dedicated.
Well, because they like the control.
Microsoft has Azure, and yes, it's about. Then they get all your details, and they get.
They give CIA a backdoor into it. Yeah. They can just go. But anyway, from a developer point of view, release the server. Then people can set their own up, and if you get little groups of people playing Concord, and say it takes off, and say it does, say everybody. The Valve game was it
Deadlock.
I keep thinking I've got Deadpool on the brain for some reason.
Deadlock is, for comparison, Deadlock is sitting at 150,000 concurrents, and it's an alpha game that's invite only alpha game, and it's sitting at 150 concurrents every time you turn it on.
But so now's not the right time to release Concord against that, but 6 months time, 12 months time. There may be an opening. You don't know what might happen. Some company might make some batshit decision to change how all the online works, and you need to sign in or something stupid. Valve, it's Valve.
Valve won't do that. Yeah.
But see, what I'm getting at is don't just throw your $200 million game out.
Yeah,
it's a simple fix, really simple fix.
Yeah.
And you know what? They should do that on games like Titanfall and stuff. Yeah. The old games, like don't hoard these servers. They're not that special, guys.
How good was Titanfall 2 as a game?
Well,
that game was so good.
I seen a few videos about what happened with that, and I am 99% sure that was sabotage.
Yes,
internal, and that was to get people off that onto Apex. But that's another story. But absolutely release the server on the game, and that way you don't get this problem.
Yeah,
it's not so embarrassing. You don't have to sit back and take this massive L that Sony's taken.
Well, an example for what it's worth, an example of how that can happen is Rainbow Six. You remember when Rainbow Six Siege first came out? Like no one played it till like the third season. And then for whatever in the third season, it just hit this perfect mixture of time and player base, and people were looking for that something different. Like they were looking for a hero shooter, but not one that had like magical powers, just one that had, like different abilities and skill trees that you could spec in. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like as a game, Rainbow Six didn't take off very well, and Ubisoft was smart enough to support it. But even they've got basically X Defiance, their current shooter, and they're like, we can't. Like we've got one more season to turn it around, and then we're closing it down. And I'm like, why people keep releasing shooters that aren't doing something unique? Like Deadlock is third person. There's your first thing, so it's not a first person shooter. So therefore, it's going for that Fortnite market, Fortnite market.
But why close it down? See, this is a silly bit. Why close it down? If you let people set up their own servers, like Minecraft's massive with this. So let people Realm, Bedrock, and Java, you can set up your own server, right? Yeah. So let people set up their own server, and then they can make their own communities. Now, all you have to do is leave that game left on your server for download. Yeah. That's just hard drive space. That's not that much. I don't care what they say. The space required for a game like Concord to download is not much. The bandwidth isn't even much for these companies. So all you have to do is leave it there amongst all the other crap on your online store. And then if somebody decides that they do like it in the future, you haven't ditched that game.
Yeah.
Now, to Sony, there's only money because they've already sacked. They'll have already sacked all the developers, so the developers are getting money. That is just free money sitting there on their server waiting for somebody to go and get.
Well, the problem with the game was it was full price, and then it had all these other bugs and all these other issues in a world where Valorant is like free and Deadlock will be free, and all these other games that compete in that space are free. You know what I mean? And it's included in Overwatch when it first came out was paid. All the characters were included in the cost of admission. You know what I mean? So it was like it was different then, but I feel like it being a paid game. Meant always the bean counters were going to hold it to a certain standard. I mean, Helldivers is free. I mean, if you play the game enough, you don't even have to pay premium
Helldivers $60.
Sorry, Helldivers was paid. But if you grind enough in the game, you don't actually need to pay for the premium currency. And I'm not even talking an unreasonable grind here. Like I'm talking... I've played 400-500 hours of a game I enjoy. 420 hours of a game I enjoy. Hey, 420. Of a game I enjoy, and I've never had to pay for a season pass. Like I've never had to pay once for a season pass, which is the anathema to Sony.
Games are starting to make it so you can't do that. Anyway, because I know my son was complaining about it the other day. Anyway, that's how to fix problems like Concord. That's how to fix. Just don't hoard the server, and all your old games. All you have to do, release the servers for download. It doesn't even matter if people hack it. Who gives a shit? People are using it amongst their friends, right?
Well, that's where a lot. I mean, Valve got Dota 2. Got Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress Original out of a hack. They got Counter Strike out of a hack.
I'm pretty sure you can download Team Fortress servers and just set them up.
Yes, absolutely you can.
Set them up as Docker containers on a Linux server and just invite your friends.
Yeah.
Now that just means if you do that. If you all you need to do is store Concord on your online store. People might even pay $40, or you can drop the price to $20. It's free money waiting to get. I don't understand why they have this weird attitude towards the service.
No, because it's a quarterly thing. If we shell it now, we can put it against our taxable income, and we can claim that due to the write off of things like
we're writing off $100 million.
Like Disney did with fucking Willow and stuff. Was it Willow? Dark Crystal, whichever one they just... No, it was Willow.
Willow's garbage, though. It's good they wrote that off.
But again, like, the fact that they didn't just leave it on the server, I mean, Batgirl never saw the light of day, you know what I mean?
You know when they should have written off the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones as well? Just pretend they never... Anyway, so remove them like they did with Final Space. I love Final. I know you hate
I didn't like Final Space. From the first episode, I did not enjoy Final Space.
Chocolatey. I bought my son one of those little mooncakes, and he loves it. So anyway,
mooncakes, man. Okay, you got a rule.
That's a little green guy.
Okay. I thought you meant actual mooncakes.
Is this like something?
It's a Chinese thing. Yeah. Lunar New Year, they make.
Oh, okay, cool. That's okay. I didn't know what you're talking about, but I'm glad it wasn't rude. But yeah, no, mooncake was a little green thing in.
I've lost interest.
Okay, cool. All right, talking lost interest. Let's move on to No Man's Sky. Hey, release your servers, guys. Just don't hoard them. They're not that special. No Man's Sky is getting a fishing update.
Jesus,
I really like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky.
I do, but it doesn't need fishing.
It does, right? And I'm going to give some more advice. I release it on Dreamcast because I have a fishing rod controller that needs more use.
Yeah, well, you just want new VMU, didn't you?
Yeah, I was looking at. I didn't have it written down my notes, but yeah, the new Dreamcast VMU has been released by somebody. And it's got USB-C charging because you have to change the batteries every 3 days. It usually goes through batteries as bad as an Atari Lynx. And it's got a backlit screen. It's got you can have multiple cards in there by flicking through, like the old ways you used to be able to do those cards. Really nice. I'm going to be picking one up because I still like my Dreamcast. I switched the power to USB-C power.
If
really nice.
Yeah, because I'm of that. I've got my old Dreamcast here still, and I like.
That's why you wanted to borrow my fishing rod.
It is, because I love Sega Bass fishing. It's like,
that's
a big one. Time bonus. I still remember every Sega thing I remember. It's one of those things. It's like, great.
All your flatmates are hearing that out of your room going, what are you playing?
Great. Your time has been extended. And it's like, is he right? Maybe. It's the same guy. I played Sega Rally the other day, and one coin I can still get up to the last stage. And like the second last segment on one coin, which is pretty good.
I used to be able to get to Lakeside every time.
Yes,
in the good old days. And Lakeside's a beautiful track. It used to just be pleasurable to drive around. I don't think I ever beat Lakeside, but on one coin I used to be able to do that. And one coin used to be able to go through Virtual Cop 2 as well.
Yeah, I used to be able to do Time Crisis 2 on 3 coins.
That's crap at Virtual Fighter though. But anyway,
Virtual Fighter Kids though. Yeah.
Virtual Fighter Kids. Yeah, I don't know. Dan keeps ignoring my emails to add Virtual Fighter Kids to the.
I'm trying to convince him about Gigabash. Have you played Gigabash?
No.
It's like a kaiju fighter. Reminds me a lot of, and I'm going to invoke a word here, Power Stone. Oh, did you see that?
Power Stone's good.
The collection, Capcom Fighter Collection 2, has Power Stone 1 and 2 in it.
Oh, I saw that news. I didn't write it down because I didn't care, but now I do. So the Power Stone is a lot of fun, but it only came out. No, Dreamcast, I think it might have come out on PSP.
It did. They had that weird Capcom game, but it had the stupidly long loading times on it. Like it was crazy. Like load times between levels like 30 seconds.
Yeah, Power Stone's a good game.
I love it. But Gigabash reminds me a lot of Power Stone.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, good fun.
And War of the Monsters. If you played War of the Monsters on it was PS2, so you probably didn't play that. So yeah.
No, PS2.
That was SDF era.
I was still angry with over.
Yeah.
Actually, I bought a PS2 because everyone keeps going, "What was your best game in the PS2?" And I said, "Well, the DVD player."
Yeah.
It's the one that got the most run.
Look, let's have that conversation for a second. Realistically, it's so funny to me that Sony cracked down on piracy so hard when they made their fortunes because of piracy.
Yeah, you would walk into
a DVD player, add piracy, and they made millions.
You would walk into a spot meet, and there would be lines of tables of people who would mod chip your PS1 or PS2. Yeah. And then it's like how websites will tolerate porn up until they get that big, and then they go, "No, we don't need it anymore."
Tumblr,
we needed it. Oh, it's back on Twitter. Don't worry.
Yeah, I've heard.
Actually, calling it X was suitable as a name. It's a bit beyond the joke.
I get the bots at the moment.
Because I went to show my daughter something. I can't remember what it was. It was something not porn. Let's put it that way, right? And I've gone, "Oh yeah, no, check this out, Mick." And where was I? And it refreshes, right? Automatically every so often. So I've gone, I'll just scroll down. I'll scroll down, and it's just like, Mick, just look away from it.
Wow, the algorithm's only responding to your input.
Oh my! No, it's not. No, officer. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so there's fishing in No Man's Sky. So they need a Dreamcast port. Also, you will like this. Because if you like fishing, right?
I mean, I don't like fishing normally. It's like tennis. I don't like playing tennis. I don't like watching tennis, but I don't mind playing a video game of tennis. I understand the basics.
Yeah, true. I tried to play tennis and I can't.
I like table tennis. I'm okay at table tennis.
Virtual tennis, I like. Everyone in my family was like a high, they're regional high table tennis player.
Yeah.
Like except me. Because they used to just fuck me up.
Yeah.
Especially my brother, he'd love doing it. He'd put spin on the ball, and I'd be like, where'd they go? So, anyway, there's also a bid for you in No Man's Sky. They've added a deep sea diving suit, and you can go deep sea diving. I know your love of diving. There's no pressure washing, sorry. But
that's what it needs. You need to clean the alien rocks.
But No Man's Sky's getting
clean your ship after a hard travel.
We spoke last time about No Man's Sky. How who what's the guy's name again? I can't remember.
Sean Murray.
Sean Murray. Yeah, I absolutely like.
Credit where it's due, mate.
I adore that guy. I really do.
Yeah.
I absolutely
he
adore
ate
him.
shit. He ate shit. Did the right thing.
Yeah.
And I'm a big. Like I say, I'll give him the credit where it is due. They released that game that he got swept up in the Sony marketing hype, and they sent him out to die.
Yep.
Or they didn't at least turn off his mic. Like at that point, to turn off his mic and say, "Sean, shut up." Like,
but that's what he did to himself, right?
Yeah.
So he did. And look, look, the guys don't worry. And now No Man's Sky has fishing and deep sea diving in it.
So he made good on it. It took him a while, but he made good. So for me, I'm always willing to accept when a small dev like that does good. It's like why I like Helldivers so much. I mean, it's only a team of I think like 30, 40. And that's for a Sony A title. That's nobody. That's
compared to the shit that's
Concord. We're literally talking about
compared
Concord.
to the shit that Microsoft and that have put out. Hey, one more. Now, last podcast, I was all I'm going to spend millions of dollars on Civ 7. Remember that? I was all excited. Yeah, not anymore because it's coming with. It's going to have Denuvo copy protection. And see, guys, this is something that it's not the devs. Everyone blames the devs. It's the publishers, right? My PC I play games on is also a work PC.
Yeah.
And I have stuff on that work PC, and I have it on encrypted drive, so you can't steal it. But I have non-disclosure agreements and shit covering some of this stuff. Don't go fucking with my PC. Now I'm not going on Civ 7 to cheat. Like, what the fuck? This ain't Call of Duty, right? Why do you need to put that bullshit copy protection on, and not just copy protection just reams my PC and puts out every other bit of information in danger.
Because the way Denuvo works now, it's basically a rootkit.
Yeah, and don't, because other people are going to abuse it, and it will turn out like CrowdStrike. But look, because that's. Yeah, they're just open. Everybody would have seen that and gone, it's funny, it's gone out of everybody's consciousness generally. Anyway, so Civ 7, I'm going to wait 6 months because they always take Denuvo out after the first big sales spike. But yeah, that was absolutely devastating news as far as I'm concerned, because I refuse to put that sort of anti-cheat stuff on my computer because it has stuff on it that is more valuable than their shitty game.
Yeah,
right? Your game is not more important than the stuff, stuff that is in my computer for my business. Sorry, guys, you're not that important.
I've got at least a couple of hundred DVDs, right? And so the worst thing about DVDs was always the unskippable. You can't copy, like you can't steal this. You can't like you wouldn't download a car, right? And that's become a meme, but. Like, why are you punishing me, the consumer who paid for it?
Yeah, because I never saw it on any that I bought at Caribbean Gardens.
I will never, like I say, and that's why I'm just like, when any of it's like, when it's like I'm at the point with Netflix, like my brother uses my account and he just got you're not in the same household anymore, and I'm like, cool. So now it's time to.
Yeah, but what if you're not? You could.
If the day that happens to me, I will flip my shit. I said it to. What I'm going to do for them all is I'm going to take my phone around each of their houses, just connect to their Wi-Fi and watch Netflix, because the app will be tied to me, so then they can go. Then it value checks them for a month.
Yeah, that's.
And I said to them, the other option is watch it through Xbox. Xbox doesn't do that. Yeah. Xbox, the console ones don't do it.
Actually, I had a big. I know this is digressing. I had a big complaint about Netflix, the ads, right?
Yeah.
Now I've just got the ad one because it's just getting silly, right? But. Okay, for a little while they were playing a horror movie ad, The Nun.
Yeah.
Right. Now, here's the thing with Netflix. I'm sitting down watching a movie with my family, right? I have an unskippable horror movie ad, right? That is, as far as I'm concerned, absolutely unacceptable. That I can't say, don't show me that shit. You can show me an ad. Like, I don't care. Make it a car ad, right? But don't show me a horror movie ad when I'm sitting down watching a movie with my family.
You know what ad you're not going to see? A chick in a bikini or a hot girl on a beach, because you're allowed. Because in America, you're allowed to show violence, but you're not allowed to show sex.
Okay, I would rather that. But
because you're a fucking hippie, fucking communist.
No, because I'm not a
prude.
A prude. Yeah, I'm not a. What are they? Puritan.
Yeah.
Like, and America was built by Puritans. But you know what? Not a horror movie. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. We're watching something. We're just finishing up. And everyone, let's watch the last episode before we go to bed and show me that. Now, it's just, to me, that's completely unacceptable if you've got kids watching.
I agree.
And Netflix is making that decision for me. Now, at least on YouTube, I can say block this ad, and they're going to show it to me again, well, for some reason, because I block every ad and they keep coming back. But on Netflix, like, don't show stuff unless it's the most tame. They made the online platforms suitable for advertisers, make the advertising suitable for the people.
Yes.
And if I'm watching like Alien Covenant or something, right?
Yeah.
Fine, show me a horror movie ad, right? That's fine.
Watching Alien Covenant show you an ad for a fucking psychiatry firm.
Okay,
or I'm loony bin.
I haven't been interested in Alien since Alien 3. The letdown that was.
No, it was a good movie, but it's all right.
Okay, maybe I'm torn on that one because I went to see Aliens at the cinemas, and I remember after that being so excited because I saw the previewed Aliens as some movie. I went out from Geelong to Melbourne to watch. And I can't remember the movie I watched because the Aliens preview was on before, and I walked out going, "I've got to see Aliens." It was so exciting. Anyway, the Aliens 3 was originally set on Earth.
Yeah. Well, so have you read about? I mean, that's a whole thing. That's a whole podcast in itself, right? So
I remember there were some posters and stuff, and so when Alien 3 came, this is before the big, because we don't get the same media coverage of this stuff as Americans do. We don't get all the interviews and stuff because all the stuff you see about the stupid ass Disney people saying stupid things, they're all American stuff. We don't see that in Australia unless we watch the internet, right? But back in those days, we had nothing like that. So I've walked into Alien 3 and I went with my sister, and we're like, really, this is going to be so good. Like, I can't wait to see that. And then just sat there and gone, what the fuck is this?
So they call it the assembly cut.
I was off at that point.
they call it the assembly cut, and it's basically a bunch of the removed scenes added back in, and it makes it a far better movie. Like, I mean, you've watched plenty of Fincher movies. You've watched Seven. You've watched
Seven is one of the. I worked with a guy once. We were talking about what movie would you take if you could only watch one movie forever on a desert island, and everyone's done the usual thing like I'd take porn, right? And he's gone, I'd take Seven, and the whole room's gone, what?
Yikes.
I'm not rescuing you. Okay, after like 20 years of watching that nonstop, we are not rescuing you. But anyway, Seven is one of the.
He's made you construct a crude box. It's like, what's in the box? What's in the box?
Mind you, Seven is one of the finest movies ever made.
Yeah,
like
that's
just one.
Fincher. Fight Club, Fincher. He's a great.
I like the Chinese version with the police win.
Yeah. Well, that's the same. Have you seen Infernal Affairs? The ending of Infernal Affairs, spoilers, you've seen Departed, Martin Scorsese's rip-off version?
Oh, that's the one with all the big names like Marky Mark and that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is actually really good.
Right. So at the ending of that is the same, except the Marky Mark doesn't come in at the end and Avenging Angel and shoot the other guy in the back of the head. So how Infernal Affairs ends is
actually
Leo catches Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Right. And finally, I fucking got you. Gets down the end of the elevator, and the underling bang shoots Leo dead. Leo's character dead. Right. Yeah. And so in the Chinese version, quick, fucking let's go, right? He then, the Matt Damon's character is, because he's the head, the biggest cop in all of them, he has to salute and stand over his grave, so the gravity of the situation just fucking sits there with you. He's like, he watched all this shit happen, he was ready to just give up and he was out.
Yeah.
And he's back in, he's having to stand there. I'm ruining this for everyone, right? But he's standing over the grave of thing. In Departed, Marky Mark, Avenging Angel, comes in and shoots him in the back of the head because fucking Americans can't have it.
Yeah, but that's because I focus tested with a bunch of fat ass Americans who are idiots, right? Right. And they go, "Oh, I don't get it."
Right. So the Chinese ending, the other ending they showed in mainland China, was at the end. The elevator drops and it's you've been arrested for drug crimes, handcuffs, and away he goes. It's China. The shittiest anticlimactic ending ever.
We'll get to China in a moment because their entertainment products are probably going to get better.
And so like you're right when it's. But anyway, moral is Alien 3 isn't as bad as you remember. Watch the assembly cut.
Maybe I should say let down.
But I think it's a thing of expectations. I mean, 4 you want to shit on 4 all you want. I like 4, but I see why
that time I was off.
Yeah. Have you watched Prometheus and Covenant? Are you gonna go watch Romus? Nah. Prometheus is like, it just answers the question that nobody asked. I'm like, yeah. Anyway, we can talk about it all day. Keep going.
Well, they do end of movies. They do like soften the ends of movies for the Americans, right? Yeah. And the worst examples, I Am Legend.
I'll say, you're going to bring up I Am Legend?
Yeah.
Because I Am Legend's perfect. He realizes he's the monster.
Yeah, because in the new world, he's the one kidnapping them out of their beds at daytime, at nighttime, and that is such a profound thing. And the original one, I think, did that, but the new one didn't, and that would have been really good. You know, another one where the ending was disappointing, and people might get upset with this, but 2 of them, two Tarantino movies, Django Unchained.
Yeah, now, I've never watched it.
Oh, you haven't?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Django Unchained is a pretty confronting movie, right? But at the end, like, how do I say this without spoiling for you? There was a bit at the end where it just became a revenge porn thing, right? Now, if they had have stopped it at the end, without spoiling, when the deal was done, and they were forced to shake hands and eat shit, and as a lesson about how power works, that would have been really, really intense and really good. But they couldn't, because at that point, the movie is so emotionally confronting in some parts that you kind of, I can see why people would have been desperate I need the bad guy to die, right? But that's not how the world works. The other one
you'll like the Ozarks. It's
because that's it. I'd rather be confronted by that. The other one is the other Tarantino one that did that is Inglourious Basterds. They piked at the end because when they engraved, you've seen that one?
Never seen it. I watch Tarantino movies.
Okay, so at the end, when
the last good movie he made was Kill Bill 2.
Okay, Inglourious Basterds was okay. It's a little bit American, but in the end, when the Nazi officer he'd arranged basically freedom and then in the end they had to go, oh well, we're going to carve a swastika in your forehead so you look like a Nazi forever, sort of thing, right? And it's sort of lame because it was sort of like in the real world, all the Nazis went on to
Operation Paperclip.
Around NATO, NASA.
Operation Paperclip.
That would be full. Yeah, so it was sort of like, and so that was 2 movies back. Anyway, I've digressed there. There was a couple of. I hate it when they show the ending of a movie to a bunch of moronic fat ass Americans. Sorry, and they go, I don't get it, and you go, well, yeah, but you're not bright. Sorry, but you're not very smart.
And this is kind of the issue for me with Disney and the tyranny of the masses, right? Is because there's plenty of, like, I've met plenty of Americans who are smart enough, can understand nuance and blah, 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 but culturally, they're taught that that's not a good movie. Like, they're taught that it has to be a hero's journey and blah, blah. I mean, you look at the reaction to Mark Hamill, like to Luke Skywalker in 8, right? You can complain all you want about 8, but I don't think Mark Hamill or like Luke Skywalker's arc in 8 is the problem with 8. Do you know what I mean? I like the fact that it was a redemption story. I like the fact that it was a...
I don't mind a redemption story, but I think their brains are fried by the good versus evil World War II narrative, and also their Civil War narrative. That they've got these narratives that their brains are fried by this good wins. Good doesn't win. Anyway, I went way off games.
You did.
Okay, cool. Let's get you involved. EDF 6 has a DLC coming. Lost Days mission pack. 15 new missions. Are you excited?
Yeah, I've already. I bought the season pass.
Already on. Okay, cool.
I've got the season pass in Japanese. I've got the season pass in thing, and I've got it on PC now. So if you want to play it on any platform, if anyone wants to play EDF, legitimately send me an email. I will happily play.
Cat Pain Billy. Am I allowed to dox you?
You just did dox me, but that's all right.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. I will play EDF, and I want to get back into streaming.
I'm McDermott, but it's normally my son, so I'll dox myself. There we go.
But usually we used to stream a lot of EDF and a lot of Monster Hunter and a lot of I'd like to. Helldivers is the time's gone for it, unfortunately, but. EDF 6, I know Brandon's been doing it. I'm glad Brandon's been keeping the legacy of streaming EDF on. So yeah.
Good week.
That's Ragazora, by the way. You should go watch Ragazora. He's a good Twitch streamer. That's Brandon's Twitch handle.
Oh, okay. Cool. Should go anyway, where was I? I was confused.
So that was EDF 6?
New Shovel Knight's getting there's a couple of old games. Shovel Knight's getting a enhanced version release soon.
Yeah. Just in time for the Switch 2. Wink, wink.
What's interesting? It's a good game, but they've added some cool things, which I think all games need to add. Now, I've played a lot of in the retro area. Save states. I'm in love with save states. I'm absolutely in love with.
Because you're bad at games, so that's fine.
You make me cry. Anyway, Shovel Knights, and the other thing it's getting, because I haven't seen it since I think it was Blur, the racing game, did it. One of the racing games, Rewind.
Yeah, Forza does it.
Oh, does it? Okay. I don't play much Forza, so my brother's now screaming at the podcast because he plays Forza all day. But no, Rewind as well, which I think is cool. Rewind's really neat. And also it's going to have multiplayer, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that being a co-op game, so yeah.
Croc is getting a remaster later this year. I know you're old enough to
platform.
Play,
I'm old.
You're old enough to play Croc. Croc was
PS2 era.
Yeah, there was that day when there was that era. So there was that era when every single game.
Croc, Spyro.
But they all had 3s. For some reason, every game had a 1 and a 2 on the original PlayStation or the Saturn, like Rayman and that. Yeah. And then suddenly it was before the PlayStation. When the PlayStation came out, everything was something 3D. Yeah. Right? So it's Croc 3D and Rayman 3D. Anyway, so Croc's hitting that. Another one, Worms Armageddon, for anyone that's ever played on
the best
Amiga.
Worms, yep.
Yep.
Probably one of the top 3 Worms, yeah.
Really, Worms Armageddon Anniversary coming out in September.
Big pod. Because have you seen... So Worms has the 3D one, which is fine, but it kind of...
Nah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Lemmings 3D.
It has a Battle Royale. I don't know if you know about the Worms Battle Royale.
No.
Yeah, there's a Worms Battle Royale.
Remember that used to be the meme when E3 would just have everything at a Battle Royale?
Don't even.
Now everything's
Halo has a Battle Royale, but you didn't get co-op until a year after. It doesn't matter.
Now everything's a live service.
Yeah.
That's the meme, yeah.
But no, Worms Armageddon, good game. We'll keen, very keen. I mean, Team 17 have been coasting off their laurels a little bit.
They have on Worms for a long time.
Yeah. And it still makes money, obviously.
Yeah, no, they could have worked. They did Alien Breed 3D. To move in 3D on the Amiga, and that was pretty disastrous because as an Amiga fan, it was still pretty awful.
Speaking of those middle tier devs that have been keeping in the game, Rebellion, I just bought Strange Brigade for $10, and I'm like, between that, Zombie Army, Sniper Elite, they got another one coming out soon that's that I was like, oh, that looks cool. I mean, if you remember Rebellion, they were Rogue Trooper, they did all like the old Pommy comic book games, and they've managed to stay surprisingly relevant. They use a lot of the same systems, like Zombie Army is basically Sniper Elite Zombie Edition, but it's fine. But
if you got a system that works,
and I mean their ballistic system for Sniper Elite is great. I don't know if you played Sniper Elite.
My son was playing that. I've seen you play it. That's where the one the bullet goes in here and it shows you all the bones
to shoot off people's testicles and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, the boy was all big into that. And I did look at it and go, I don't know if he should be playing this.
I'll teach him how to shoot proper. He can come out with me to the range. Yeah.
Considering the amount of martial arts he's done in his life, he's probably way ahead of me in understanding all that stuff, because that's what they do. All the grappling stuff he does and the knife work he does, they go, it's not like random shit like just punching. It's like if you bend and twist like this, and he'll come and show me. So maybe watching all the bones shatter in Sniper Elite wasn't that much of a shock for him. I had one more thing, but I'll ask you what you got. Is a PS5 price increase in Japan at 20%. That's a bit of a leap.
Oof. Yeah, that goes from 59,000 yen, so it's got to go up 20%. That's going up to about 60,000 yen, so it's going up to about. Yeah, because I guess it was always $600. It was always cheaper there.
Well, a 20% price increase here would put it well over 1,000, wouldn't it?
No, to put it just under. To put it at about 900, because it's $750 at the moment, $799.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 800 and something.
No. There wasn't PS3.
PS5, I'm thinking. What am I saying? Did I say PS3? I'm an idiot. PS5.
Yeah.
You know that new one they made?
$799. So they have gone up. That was more than they launched.
Well, Japan's just had a 20% price increase in the PS5, which may mean we may be looking at one at some point. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, they've already done it to us. That's what I mean. See, it's gone up to it's gone up to catch up with us. There you go.
Okay, so we were ahead of them. Oh, there you
go. They were always cheaper, I'm pretty sure. But if that goes, so that goes up. So it's at 79,000 yen at the moment, right? So if that goes up. That's crazy. If that goes up, that goes to what basically add another service. So it was 8, so it was 16. So it goes up to like 96,000 yen. That's crazy.
Don't really matter in Japan because nobody's buying an Xbox.
No. That's true.
And the Switch 2 is not out yet.
I mean, I can show you videos I've taken in Yodobashi where it's like switch, random accessory, switch, random accessory, switch. PlayStation, PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. One bay of Xbox, and it's literally just Game Pass.
Yeah. Hey, we didn't talk about the monkey game.
We got time. We can chuck it on for 5 minutes.
Well, let's do quickly a monkey game. Yeah. Okay. So we brought up China earlier. So now China, generally, how much videos do you see of the stuff coming out of China now? Because they're starting to live in science fiction.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how it's gone, and you always got to wonder because everything's propaganda, right? So you've always got to wonder how much of it is faked. It's the same like we talk about AI, like AI over here. It's like AI isn't real.
It means also Indians.
Yeah.
I always compare what's going to happen with China and this is where I'm going somewhere with this. in when I was young, in like the late 70s, early 80s,
Yeah.
things from Japan were called Jap crap.
Yeah.
Right. And then suddenly in the mid to late 80s, everything came out of Japan was like Sony and the Sony Walkman, and Japanese electronics became the finest stuff you could buy. And within a few years, there were basically only boutique Western electronics
and they are a craftsman culture. They always have been. I mean, you look at the rifles they make. You can trace. You buy an Arisawa rifle. You can trace it to the city, the ward, and you'll know which group of like little cottages put together your rifle. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they're exact. Anyway, my point that was what happened in Japan. Now, China is they're undergoing that at the moment in many ways, and if the Yanks don't nuke them in the next few years, they've got no chance. And I think that's what they want to do. But anyway,
I think the next country to get nuked is it's Europe.
Iran.
It's Europe. Exactly.
I think they're being very careful in other spots. But anyway, my point is they're going to, and then the latest example of where they're going is the monkey game, the Black Myth.
Wukong's Black Myth.
Yeah. Wukong Black Myth. Anyway, and so I not my sort of game. I know it's not your sort of game.
I'm pretty sure it's a Souls-like, so instantly it's not my kind of game.
But I got to say, looking at it, it looks polished and spectacular. Yeah. And
they did the beta for it. They did the demo for it, so they got feedback on that. So they followed a traditional cycle. I think they worked with Koei Tecmo on it. I'm nearly certain.
And that's got apparently Chinese culture in it.
Yeah, well, it's Journey to the West. It's Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is literally Journey to the West.
I've always believed the game's a really good way of recording a culture for people. And the quality of the game, to me, struck me as very, very, very impressive. And I thought, well, if that's where China's video game industry is going, then the Western video game industry and places like Microsoft and that might want to get their shit together real quick. Because if this is the stuff that's going to come out of Japan, it is amazing.
Out of China, but
sorry, China.
Yeah. See, that just goes to show you.
Yeah, so I'm getting. If this is the I'm the most tired. Ask anybody. No, but if this is stuff coming out of China, that is AAA quality game.
Yeah.
Right. Coming out. So that was the thing that surprised me. I thought if this is the state of their industry producing games, then
you got to remember. So
our Western game industry could be in more trouble than it realizes. While it fucks around with live services.
Everyone talks about Fortnite, right? And Fortnite is huge, but the other one that is huge is Genshin and Honko, Star Rail, the MiHoYo games, right? And so the MiHoYo games were unbelievably popular during COVID. Like they were just came at a perfect time. It was anime enough. They got full Japanese voice if you want to play it with full Japanese. Blah 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 blah. You can tell there's little tells and stuff. You can always tell when it's a Korean or a Chinese instead of a Japanese doing it an anime style. It's just those little cultural things. It doesn't make them good or bad. It just is a thing. But for sure they're starting. But the thing you got to remember as well is they're starting to poach a lot of Japanese talent. Nagoshi now works for NetEase. They're starting to steal these great devs in Japan who feel stifled by the studio system.
Yeah.
And they're going to China and saying basically, look, we'll give you carte blanche, you'll give you millions of dollars, do whatever the hell you want. And so they are doing that. I mean, MiHoYo now owns a nuclear power plant. They own a nuclear generator, like
I think they're trying
trial
to do
fusion reactor. Yeah,
fusion. Yeah, the one that's good.
Fission is the bad one.
The one that won't kill us.
Yeah. Fusion. Yeah. So they own a trial fusion reactor. They spent their billions of dollars and they bought that. So that's their way of getting obviously Z off their back. But like,
but meanwhile, what we do here, we sell all the game studios and all the shareholders get all the money.
Correct.
Just
exactly.
Disby's in Bobby Kotick's pocket.
I mean, look, and this is going to be a bit too much of a hand wave, but bear with me. You know, Henry Ford was a rampant anti-Semite, and he has a lot of problems. But the one thing he understood was that if you don't pay your staff well enough, they can't buy your product.
Yeah, he believed that you should be able to buy the product you make.
Yeah, and he was one of the biggest proponents of living wage, right? In that he would be like, I want to pay my people well enough so that they can have a life and buy my products and buy other people's products.
This goes to show it's folly to believe that anybody is all good or bad.
Right.
Mind you, somebody's going to go, what about Hitler? And I don't want to have that argument.
Yeah.
So he might have been mostly bad. But what I'm getting at is Henry Ford his worker class focused attitude was good. Maybe his Jew focused attitude bad. But anyway, now the Chinese thing, it's just, to me, it's just another example of how they're about to explode. And I think the video game industry in the West, the AAA industry, could be just another aspect of our society that is effectively committing suicide in the face of a very, very big threat. Not threat as in like how the Americans do it. Yeah. A very big change coming.
Competitive, yeah, and I'm all for it. The main thing is they're moving into these narrative style games to tell their stories. Like there's a few games even on,
and everybody should. We should here. We should be telling. We should be telling Indigenous stories in our games.
I mean, that's what was it called? Broken Roads. That was at the Fallout 2 clone game made in Australia, and it was telling like a post-apocalyptic.
But we should be telling the Dreamtime stories and stuff because that's effectively what the Black Myth Wukong is.
Yeah,
but should be
folklore. Well, you know they call it folklore because it's a living religion. Blah blah blah. Yeah, but I mean, Christianity's here you go. To save face, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, they're all folklores. They're all fake. It doesn't matter. It's not real.
You're saying they're all fake stories.
They are fake stories.
You're saying they're all made up stories.
They are all made up stories.
Anybody that thinks anyone thinks they're history books or real estate guides.
Real estate guides. Yeah. We all hate real estate agents, and Yahweh's not a great real estate agent.
Sorry guys, but I don't think there's any real estate agents in heaven. So I think God knows any of them.
Imagine going to heaven and it's full of real estate agents.
Oh yeah, no, God's...
I just say, I'll take the. Yeah. Let me hit the down button. I'm on the wrong floor.
Yeah, so God doesn't do real estate. That's my point. Yeah. They're not related to anything in particular.
But more
there's no lawyers there either.
But I think there is a value in those stories in that. To me, it still helps inform how people get to where they are. You can look like I love supernaturals. I don't believe in the supernatural whatsoever, but I still love supernatural. I want to make some short stories and short films and stuff like that go into those kind of topics because I believe as metaphors, as shared histories, as those kind of things, they have value in the sense it's something to look at and go, oh, I can understand why you would think that, and I can understand why I always say Aesop's fables to me. If you ask me what I am, I'm an Aesopian. I love Aesop's fables. They're as quality a parable as anything you're going to read in the Bible or anywhere else, right? And
that's all it was.
Yeah, that's all it was. Just like little moral plays. That's what good TV is.
It was basically little moral stories dressed up with some Harry Potter level bullshit.
Right, exactly. And but I agree with you in that
made by people that might have been just as bigoted.
Yeah. The thing that bothers me with thing is because you're right. We tell these stories, and I'm glad that we're getting these stories from like the American South and stuff, so that like African Americans have their stories and stuff like that. But why don't we do that here?
Far cry.
That's African. That's different. Come on, man. But you actually that's not a bad example though. You have South Africa. You've got Tibet and Nepal like that, and they're all analogs. They're all not the same thing. You got Cuba. They pushed out on America like I knew they would. They refused to tell that American story properly, but they definitely went in on Cuba. You know what I mean? Like all these stories, and it's fictional tales, but it's still here's these situations. We don't do that for Australia because in the last, especially we've always been happy to water down our culture for the Poms first and now the Yanks. But in the last 15 years, it has been a bombardment of American culture. And then when you bring migrants over...
I'd say it started from the 90s.
Yeah.
Because I reckon during the 90s I noticed and felt, and maybe it was because I was like coming out of my formative sort of years, that we went from having an Australian culture that was British influence, but we had a unique Australian culture, the one you'd see in the Working Dog movies, like Castle and that, and we suddenly became Castle. What school did you go to?
No, I was waiting for it.
So we suddenly became very Americanized.
Yes.
And we becoming progressively Americanized since. But I think games, I've always believed games are a very effective way to record your culture and your history. And I think at this point, I just really like the government to fund Indigenous culture games. Yeah, anyway, Black Myth Wukong does that with China. But the main thing is the quality of it. It's just incredible. It is a true. See, when you talk about we do it here, we might do it as an indie game, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. This ain't no indie game. This is a AAA game.
It's AAA. It's
a quality game.
It's UE4, I'm pretty sure.
There's like 10 million players at any one time playing it, which is going to happen because you have a large market in China.
It's also a Souls game, and they had the controversy with the Screen Rant review.
I'll get to that in a sec because I want to say some things you're not going to like and nobody's going to like, and I'm going to.
Welcome to this hour-long edition of the Video Plus podcast.
But no, I just think to me it's a sign, and it's a sign that all our Western devs are fucking around with live service and making Concord and that. and they're worried about all these things. And
Western publishers, to be fair,
the devs just want to make a living. I get that. They want to make good product to make a living, and that's fair. The publishers are the ones forcing it. Yes, you're right. But if Black Myth Wukong is a sign of things to come out of the Chinese game dev community, then
bring it on.
EA and Microsoft better be shit scared and better be having some meetings right now saying we're fucked if we don't get our act back together, because the way we're going now, those numbers that Black Myth Wukong is pulling is that we are nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and also I want to talk about the review.
All right.
Okay.
Make it quick.
Video game media, especially in America, is racist as hell against Asians. And I'm just going to put that there, and you see it. You see them comment little snide comments about everyone in Japan's a pedo and that, right? And it shits me. And Americans especially, because they're being conditioned for a future war, because you have to get the public to demand the war before they do it. And the Americans
they learned that with 9/11, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why there's so much Islamophobia, because they had to make Islamophobia. You see, people my age are Islamophobic generally because we had a media barrage of anti-Muslim stuff, right? Now, not that I have any love for Muslims or anything, but there was so much anti-Muslim stuff coming in that of course, you see a lot of people my age are, and it's stuck forever. You see people my parents' age, they hated Japan, right? Because you have to, because they have to make it.
It's hard to go into an RSL and tell a bloke who built the Burmese railroad that the Japanese are all right.
Yeah, it's weird to go down there now and you chat to young Japanese people and they're like, oh, what's my English like? Yeah, English is good. And they're like, oh, that's really exciting. But anyway, point is, the amount of racism in the commentary around Black Myth Wukong is incredible, and the video game media, especially in America, is racist as fuck and needs to calm down, because some of the shit I've seen written about it is just, I cannot. You wouldn't say that about anybody else, and sorry guys, but you're racist. And stop it, because you can't just say, oh, like black people are not racist, and then go and slag off against the Chinese developers like they've done, and then pretend you're a fucking good guy, right?
Yeah.
Video game media, knock off the racism.
My argument.
And don't tell me you're not, and don't tell me, oh, I like it. Bullshit. I've seen all the Black Myth Wukong comments, right? It's wrong.
Yeah. So
I know that won't go down well.
No. So my argument has always been, even with cultures I disagree with, I can always find something that I can agree with, right? And I've always tried to do that. Like, there are things in Japanese culture. I mean, everyone calls me a weeb, right? But I'm not so blind as to see the issues with Japanese culture.
They're not a fan of sea life.
Right. Fuck you, dolphin. Fuck you, where? They've still got issues with being a patriarchal society. They're a one-party country.
Yeah.
As Gaijin, you'll always be Gaijin. You could have lived there for 30 years, and you're always going to be the white fella, right? And
it's a bit different there. They're the indigenous people.
And that's exactly what I mean. Right? And it hits different from that perspective, right? Because it is seen as, I mean, the Americans are the occupiers. You can argue the righteousness of it if you want, but the Americans are the occupiers. Have been the occupiers for 80 years, right? And so it is that we think, and it's the same with China. You don't have to sit. I don't have to sit there and go, I love every aspect of current Chinese.
But the Japanese really have a problem with Americans. But is that a lot to do with the fact that around American military bases, the amount of rapes is like way higher than anywhere else in the world?
I used to work with.
The American soldiers seem to be a bit rapey.
I mean, all soldiers are, unfortunately. I've seen a few. I especially dealt with a Japanese YouTuber I spoke to a fair bit, and I was talking to him, and he grew up around a base, and he would tell me about every Friday, Saturday night it was on for all and sundry. They come in, they get drunk, they grope the girls, they do whatever, and
they have immunity.
You can't touch them. It's happened in Korea as well. And this is the thing. So it's like the anti-American, again, American sentiment has to filter through that lens, and I think as well, you can criticize cultural aspects. Like, I'm not going to sit here and fillet the Chinese government. There's plenty of things that I think China does well, and that I mean, I've got no particular thing against Chinese people in general. But I can look at it and go, well, this is a bit full on. Well, this is a bit full on. Like, like the fact that the social credit, it's overblown, but it's that thing of, if you've done your time to society, surely that counts for something. Yeah. But then in America, if you're a felon, can't run for office, can't vote.
I hate this one where you said something good about them. You must love them. And that's like I can watch Essendon play Collingwood and not like either team.
Yeah.
Or go, oh, that's a good player of footy, right? I can call it as it is.
You can look at De Goey and go, oh yeah, he can play football well.
He's a powerful player, but you know. But I don't have to choose a side. People like to choose a side. So they make comments about China and what's happening, and it doesn't mean I like the CCP. So, I'm in trouble now. Got that wrong. But I can say that I'm just going to call it out based on what Black Myth Wukong looks like and what they've done. If that's what's about to be coming out of China with those pulling those numbers, our game industry is in. It should be terrified, and it needs. They need to really make some big changes because if they're going to keep doing $200 million games like Concord and fucking them up, and meanwhile China's pumping out stuff like Black Myth Wukong.
You got to remember, Sony has had 6. Concord was one of them. 6 live service games in the pipeline. Like, who are you cannibalizing?
At one point, there was 150 in development.
I believe it.
Not just Sony, but
I mean, technically, Helldivers is a live service game, but to me, it's a live service game done properly. Like, I don't know, they get a lot of complaints, but
Sony tried to screw it. But
and so I don't know. I agree with you. I feel like I've finished in the last 6 weeks. Don't judge. 7 games, and 3, 4, 5 of those. Yeah, nearly all of them were straight up single player adventures. SteamWorld Heist paid my full money for.
That's what EA said nobody likes.
SteamWorld Heist was a great game.
SteamWorld Heist is good.
Atlas Risen on Game Pass was surprisingly fun. I had a lot of fun playing Atlas Risen. It's not a top tier game, but it's a solid 7.5. It's a solid bit of tucker. You're not going to sit there and think it's the best thing you've ever had, but it's mum's spaghetti. You know what I mean? Like it was fine. You know, I've finished a few games and I'm in the middle of Death Stranding and I'm loving Death Stranding, and so it's that thing of, I don't know.
That's effectively an indie game now because the guy that made it's like unemployed.
I mean, I don't think Kojima's ever going to struggle to get capital. So
not working at Konami though.
That's true.
But you were playing before that the pressure washing game, the diving game.
I'm playing police simulator patrol officers, and you go around, you just act as a cop, and it's dumb but it's fun. Like I don't know, I feel like life's like in any single one person's life, there's only place for one live service game, and Valorant's out, and Counter-Strike's out. And all these other games, and Deadlock's going to come in and take a lot of those now because Valve have done that correctly. I just don't see a world where you can really compete in a live service world anymore. And considering Sony was known for sad dad games, and that was what their strength was, and they're not doing any sad dad games in the near future.
Companies don't understand the idea of a niche anymore.
And that was one thing that PS3, even in the Sony always had this, even during the PS3 era, which was its down era, and even though they still sold plenty of consoles. You bought it because you wanted to play Wii games. Vita, you bought it because you wanted to play Wii games. They knew their niche. Now, Nintendo is the one that doesn't censor Wii games. Nintendo is the one that lets fucking hentai games on. What a world.
It's because our business thinking at the moment is not very bright. And one of the most fundamental concepts in business you used to learn is about a niche. Find your niche. Nail your
Fulfill
niche.
It,
and there's still a place for that, but I'd argue that's what the more indie games do. What would they be? Single A or double A games would do. Whereas your main ones, they're all trying to be everything for everybody. And
focus tested garbage.
You can't do all that.
Well, one last thing before we go, because we better wrap up.
Gone over now. Jamie's going to be really pissed.
Have we mentioned Star Wars Outlaws at all? Funny that.
No.
It's a quadruple A game. Haven't you heard?
This one. I mean, I have seen videos of it. Compare that to the monkey game. They should be scared.
On that note, we'll leave you to it. NewGamePlus.tv, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, New Game Plus TV, YouTube as well, obviously. More videos coming up. I'm at TGS in 3 weeks' time, and so I'll make sure we do something fun over there as well. And we'll see you then.
Cool, bye.